No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen. Welcome to the Parlay Pursuit. We are here. It's a very special episode, everybody. We are coming off the heels of recording our Patreon episode where we broke down Pizayev versus Gamrot. Coming up in a couple weeks, we broke it down for you with a fine-tooth comb. The Patreon is now called the Fine-Tooth Comb Club because that's where we break down every card that we already broke down on the YouTube with a fine-tooth comb. We go through everything yet again. And I'll give you a hint. Some things changed. Some Triple B certified picks from last week switched. I switched on a couple. Dan switched on a couple. We all switched on a couple. But if you want to get our addendum picks or updated picks on the upcoming card, check it out in the Patreon, the Fine Tooth Comb Club. Dan, Alex, we're coming off a huge weekend. Dan won over $1,000. We're going to talk all about it. We recapped a lot of it in the Patreon. So we're going to start doing the Patreon episode first, doing most of our recap in the Patreon episode so we can just come right in here hot in the YouTube, give our full picks, top to bottom, main card, and prelims. This week, we're breaking down Grant Dawson versus Drew Dober coming up in a couple weeks, and we're giving you the early predictions for that so we can get ahead of the lines, just like we did for Shevchenko versus Grasso, where Dan went 8 out of 9 on the fights that went to the distance, to the decision that actually had an outcome. 8 out of 9, almost a perfect parlay, Danny boy. Tell us what you won, what you did, how it went, how you doing.
Yeah, as Lukey CK said, won just over $1,000, nice 1,100 reward money. 8 out of 9 on the perfect parlay. I had actually 3 parlays winning. One of them was a 9-legger, another an 8, and a safety parlay of 5. The safety parlay had Raul Rosas, Alexa Grasso, Kopylov, Canute, and one more. Who was that, Lukey?
Got you, Danny boy. So he sent me the winning parlay bet slips real quick. I'm just gonna pull them up just so you can see them. We talk too much, guys. Too many DMs in this group chat. Maybe that's what you got to start letting people in on. If you want to pay a certain amount, we can let you in on our group chat, and then decide you don't like us anymore and aren't our friend anymore. Okay, so 9-pick parlay. Josephine Knudsen, Charlie Campbell, Tracy Cortez, Roman Kopylov, Lupita Godinez, Daniel Zoluba, Raul Rosas Jr., Jack Della Maddalena, and over 1.5. 50 in what fight, Dan? $50 bet paid $5.97. That's not all, folks.
Yep, that over 1.5 was the main event.
We had these two. Wow, so you didn't even have a push in the main event. Fantastic. So this one, $30 paid $5.17, $100 paid two something. And yeah, you finished out with, in your total sportsbook account, 1.3K in the screenshot.
Oh yeah, baby.
$200 in bets that he placed. Dan's not a big spender, guys. And if you tailed his bet sheets, you could have got yourself $1,100 of profit off just about $200 betting. That's in the Patreon, patreon.com/PurplePursuit. We put our live Google Sheets in there for you guys to aid or tail, whatever you want. Entertainment purposes only, obviously. We don't even exist. But here's the thing. I had in my open bet sheet a few good ones as well. I'm going to share with the screen real quick, show you what we did. Because what I do with my open bet sheet is that I update it live a lot of the time if I'm able to during the match. So, oh, wow, I'm just giving everybody everything now. Here you go. So that's a little preview into what everything looks like. But what is going on here? Okay, so
Cut that plot out.
Cut that plot out. So I probably will. This was my open bet sheet, right? So I didn't bet a lot during the fights. It might look a little complicated. The event is here. Who I picked is here. The size of the parlay is here. How much I bet is here. And then some notes for the audience are here. So, for example, I cashed out on these two. Going into the Holland fight, I cashed out this one, $100 to win $252, and I cashed out this one, $25 to win $678. The reason is I had this big one with Holland at the top, $209 to pay $27.09. And Holland was the last one on this. I was going to hedge on Grasso anyway, but Holland was the last one on this. They were offering me about $600 cash out on the $209 bet going into the Holland fight. I let it ride, and I cashed out these two for essentially break even. I rebet them on Jack Della to further the break even into profitability. And then I was in a situation where I was either going to kind of break even on Jack for the night or win a lot, potentially on Holland. So I even noted to the audience that I'm cashing out. And this is updated live during the fights. What I ended up doing about round 2 during the Holland fight, I look at the stats, and in my opinion, Kev's winning. In my opinion, he's outvoluming him. The shots Jack are landing aren't like super devastating compared to the ones Holland's landing. So even though Jack's landing a little bit more, I'm grading Holland based on walking him down. The defense, I'm kind of thinking like a lot of the strikes that they're counting as significant aren't even really landing because the way Kevin's kind of blocking and slipping out of the way. And my only problem with Kevin during this fight was that he was smiling, slapping hands, having too good of a time in there. I like Kevin when he's like that friendly, but kind of shit talky, like he was in the Jacare fight, like he was in the more so in the Buckley fight. That's when I like in the Chiesa fight, or not Chiesa, in the even a little bit in the when he got knocked out in the fucking Dawson fight, Walkus fight. So my point is, Kev, you got to be a little bit more focused at times, and a little bit more committed to dominance. I mean, I don't know. It was a lot of volume, but not enough. I thought Kevin won, but I also thought Padilla won. So I can't really complain. Overall,
Actually, no. In that case, then you can complain twice as much.
yeah, I can complain twice, right? Because I would have had a much different night if those two went my way. But overall, still managed to profit. And then, yeah, so it is what it is. Let's get into next week's card, everybody. If you want to hear us break down Fiziev versus Gamrot, good news, we did it. We did it. We did it top to bottom, main card and prelims on the YouTube. We gave an in-depth breakdown. So whether or not you agree with our opinions or not, that episode's good for you because we just talk about the facts. And then if you really like what we have to say and you want to see us take it a level deeper, go to the Patreon. But we also now on the Patreon, we're getting a little bit, we're saving all the hot topics, Fury versus Ngannou, Valentina Shevchenko, her post-fight speech talking about how they only gave it a draw because it was Mexican Independence Day. All the hot topics, Deion Sanders, Colorado, all that. We save it for the Patreon, and we really get going. We get deep into those there. So if you just like our takes on things, hop into the Patreon because that's where we're breaking down all the hot topics, the TMZ style stuff. Drew Derber versus Ricky Glenn, Joe Piper versus Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. Those are the top 3. We got a lot of good fights on this card, though. Nate Maness makes a return. Carolina Kowalkiewicz, my girl, my crush, makes her return. Chris Gutierrez, a lot of pandemic heroes. Johnny Munoz Jr., Joaquin Buckley, Morono. This is going to be a really fun card to break down. So let's get into it. Without further ado, did we not touch on anything? We talked about the wins. We broke down a lot of the card in the Patreon, so I don't want to waste too much time. But are there any fights you feel deserve to be addressed on the YouTube audience? I mean, I do want to say, Zaluber, you did your job. Raul Rosas Jr., you did your job. Knutson, you didn't really do your job. I want to start referring to these massive favorites not finishing fights, especially when your opponent isn't throwing anything back. I want to start...
And a last-minute replacement, too.
Yeah, last minute. It's called not covering the spread. Raul Rosas Jr. covered the spread. Knutson did not. So that's what we're talking about here. Cortez, even money, lady fight, covered the spread. Got it done. Campbell, got it done, covered the spread. I bet Charlie Campbell by first round knockout. I had, I think, plus money on that. So,
what did you think of his post-fight interview?
Oh yeah, Dan, what did you think of that? I mean, I thought it was kind of cringy. I thought that his voice cracked, and like he didn't nail the Rock's line. Like he like when you do a Rock line, right? This is how I would deliver it, right? Dan, what'd you think about my Patreon podcast performance?
Oh, I thought it was.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah.
And then nothing. See how I said nothing after? Nothing after. He said, now let's do it again. Alex, do it to me this time. Alex, what'd you think about my Patreon?
It was all right.
It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you think. See how it's worse the second time? He did it twice. Like he said it, but then he had to come in over the top and re-tag it. Not a good move in public speaking. It displays lack of confidence. Silence is golden. Minimize word economy. In sales, right? If you If I say to you, Dan,
something that civilians wouldn't understand, Luke. This is
Dan, $1,500 is the price.
No.
What price did you have in mind?
14.
Let me check. I can do that. But you see what I'm saying? I didn't say 1,500 is the price. Does that sound good to you? I know that's a little expensive, but I didn't see what I'm saying? I didn't come in over the top and keep talking, right? I said 1,500 is the price, and I shut the fuck up. When you're doing a UFC interview, say your line and shut the fuck up. But a lot of these guys can't do that. It's same with a joke, stand-up comedy. You say your joke, let the audience laugh.
You got to give him credit, though, for at least knowing his audience, DC, WWE guy. So give him a little bit of credit. A little bit of credit.
DC was like, I'm going to let you live. Even that was even funny. But then his voice cracked on the second. I was gonna let that part go. He still maintained a good flow, but then his voice cracked on the outro.
And you'll never guess what show he was on today. You'll never guess. Another WWE old man nerd who believes in fake fighting. You'll never guess. Ariel Showani, the loser, the nerd, the guy who would get stuffed in a locker if he grew up in my generation.
Whoa. He probably did get stuffed in lockers, even growing up in his generation. Probably more so, actually. Your generation is like way more accepting than his generation. So
I meant I would have been the one stuffing him in a locker.
No, you wouldn't have done that.
Oh, I would stuff Ariel Helwani in a locker.
No, you would not. You were not a bully.
You'd be like, oh, you like UFC too? That's awesome.
I would love, yeah, exactly. Me and Ariel would be fast friends if we were together in high school. But I do get what you're saying is that, Ariel kind of got the coffin nail put in him by MMA Guru. I don't even watch his show anymore. So it's done. Like he's on his own island now, He's deteriorating.
Couldn't agree more.
So we move on. There's really nothing that I would ever watch Ariel Helwani's show for. There's no guests he could get besides Chael Sonnen. I watch when Chael's on, only because Chael gives him what for, and only to be disrespected. You know what I mean? Ariel says, Chael says stupid things all the time. You say stupid things all the time. Chael has never said a stupid thing.
Isn't he?
I've never lost, but I've also never been injured. It's one of those things.
Isn't he crying now about DDP? He's like, I think DDP should get the next title shot. It's like, hey, Ariel, you already blew it, okay? You already blew it. Yeah. Okay? DDP is not going to like you anymore. He doesn't like you. Nobody.
I was always friends with DDP.
yeah, exactly. He's like,
all right, this is Patreon talk, everybody. I know this is fun. This is juicy, but we got to save it for the Patreon. Then we can really talk how we want to talk, because a lot of you people might be tuning in for the first time. You might disagree with us. That's fine. You can disagree all you want. This isn't for you then. Move on.
It doesn't matter what you think.
It doesn't.
Please don't ask me any dumb questions.
So, and I own that footage, so I don't even need to worry about Jake Paul coming to collect, because I was licensed. That's the license.
Please don't ask me any. I honestly don't even know who those people are.
See, Alex, it means I own it, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, we're Big J journalists, dude. We were in on that press conference. We have the rights to.
I had the credentials.
Yes.
Or something. I don't know. Somebody help me. Anyway, if any lawyers, we're not so much lawyers, but Illuminati representatives, like agents. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, we need a couple of you in there.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Whoever Andrew Tate's against, just come talk to us, because I don't want to be in a Romanian prison. I want to be
on your team.
I want to be in the hype house. Yeah.
I want to be on the team that's winning.
Put us in the mansion. Whatever you need me to say. The whole mansplaining, alpha male thing, I think it's dying out. I'm ready to go the other way. I'm ready to go.
I'm going back to the blue pill.
She wants.
I'm going back to the blue pill, baby.
Yeah, blue pill. We're going blue pill now. The AI is coming. It's here. You're not going to be farmers. Let's just put it that way. You're not going to end up being a farmer. All right.
As Adam Friedland says, this is a
those
center
who are
left
farming
show.
are already farming, and they're getting better at it as the day goes by. You're not. My girlfriend has these fantasies like we're going to buy a farm. I'm like, there are people who own farms and aspire to have bigger farms, and you're like, I'm just going to go buy a farm. It's like, no, it's like you got to work your way up. Get a garden. Get these girls who want to live in a homestead would fucking wilt like so much tomato plant if they even had a garden.
None of the women we know can churn butter.
I'm like, sure. You want to have cows? I'm not giving birth to a calf. Do you know how insane and intense that would be? I watched you give birth. Imagine something 3 times the size coming out walking. I'm not doing that.
That's the least of your worries, dude. There's some things where you gotta like shove your hand up a cow's ass and stuff like for some certain things. It's crazy. You put a glove on up to here.
Times.
Yeah, I saw a video about it once, and
You've done that.
No, my wife.
Oh. I was like, I thought, that's what I'm thinking. I was like, I thought she brought you on a fucking field trip or something.
No.
To test your metal.
It's
not
like
gonna roll a job.
A haunted house where you start feeling the spaghetti in a bowl, and they tell you it's intestines.
Ooh.
All right. Well, we got a lot of fights to break down. Actually, only 11. It's 11 fight sampler snack size offering. Maybe they'll add to it. Maybe they won't. Actually, it's 12. Sorry, it's 12. That's my favorite size card. 12 fights. Perfect parlay size. Let's start at the bottom with my favorite little baby, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, double K. Diana Belbita is taking her on. I'm going Karolina all day, all night. We just talked about Romania. This girl is 10 years younger, but it's not going to matter to me. I've seen a resurgence out of my girl KK, and 9 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, 3 fights inside of a year. This will be her 4th fight in a year. And 4-fight winning streak inside of a year. Give this girl a title shot. 115. I mean, she's fought for the title before. She's a mainstay in the division. She's not getting any younger. So I feel like this is her shot. She's gonna have a 4-inch reach disadvantage, 4-inch height disadvantage, 10-year age disadvantage, and for that reason, I will not be picking her. But I will be picking her.
Luke, how much you love liquid gold poured all over your face. I'm surprised you didn't go with Belbita.
Why?
It was you like piss on your face joke.
Yeah, no, I got why.
Is...
Why does
Velveeta? Velveeta. They call it liquid gold. Doy. But all jokes aside,
well, I'll be honest with you. I would let either. I don't know what just happened. I think somebody pulled the plug, but I was saying I would let either of these 2 ladies.
Okay, well, fair enough. All jokes aside, Diana Belbita coming out of Romania. I know who they're not putting into a sex dungeon, Andrew Tate. Don't even try. Don't even try to go against Diana
Allegedly. You really want to make enemies with Tate now? I was just kidding before.
I'm not making enemies. It was a joke. Grow up. All right? I'm going with the young woman. I mean,
please spin this guy around. I spin this guy around all day like he's in bumper cars. Boom, boom. He doesn't know which way is up anymore.
Actually, no. I'm going to go with Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She beat up on Vanessa Demopoulos, and that's a much worse matchup for her than Belbita is. I know I'm going with the old dog, but sometimes the old dog runs fast. This
fight will be won by whoever doesn't have diarrhea the night before. It's not I don't know what the line's going to be, but it deserves to be pick 'em, because even though KK deserves to be the underdog because of age, we see in lady fights all the time, the 40-year-old comes in and smashes on the 20-year-old all the time. It happens all the time. And I think it's partially because if you just study what happens to men as they age is that they lose testosterone, they lose muscle density, they lose a lot of like what makes them, like masculine and like able to perform athletically. But if you look at like what happens to a woman on the other side of that, isn't it like that they like, isn't that what like getting older is for a woman? Don't they like get more like thicker bones and like I don't know. I literally don't know. I'm really not even trying to make it.
Their cycle stops. Their cycle stops at some point.
So do they get stronger?
They could. They're not draining themselves.
You always try to do the age thing with women, and it always comes back to bite us in the ass. I'm starting to think like maybe it doesn't apply to women the same way it does to men. Maybe women are actually meant. Maybe their prime is like 35 to 40.
No.
Maybe women's MMA is like heavyweight MMA. Because a lot of these girls, they come in, they're young, and you think about these veterans pre-USADA, they were probably adding to their bone density and their human growth throughout the time they've been in their career. Then you get these 22-year-olds who come in and they've been in USADA the whole time. They look like string beans.
Listen, this is
like on that Pedialyte. They don't look, they're like,
This is exactly why James Krause leads the 1% Club back. He let you know whenever a woman fighter was on their cycle. He knew when to bet against them. He knew everything about them. He knew the intimate details. Dan?
I also know all the intimate details about women. But I'm going to go with Karolina on this one. I like everything that our fair leader, Lukey, was saying. I like this resurgence, this new Karolina. She seems to be, not getting into dogfights, playing it really safe, but very effectively, clearly winning these fights. I've never been a fan of Belbita. I don't care about the age difference. I don't think she really has all that much to offer as far as offensive firepower against Carolina. So yeah, I don't think this should be a pick 'em. I think this should be like a minus 250 Carolina.
Couldn't agree more, daddy boy. Next up, we got Mountain.
I was
of the
wrong.
Roses.
Even premenopausal women lose testosterone and should probably be prescribed it. I was wrong. I did a Google, but I'm not a doctor.
You did the Google.
Yeah, I said, can women get testosterone as they age? And then this is like, all the articles coming up are like, low testosterone in women as they age. Should we be prescribing testosterone to women as they age? So it's, But then I see this testosterone inefficiency in women, factor fiction. But and also, the thing is, does testosterone even help? Like, the whole testosterone estrogen thing is very complicated. Like, you have to be an endocrinologist to understand this kind of thing. So I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to formally opt out of even discussing it.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're going with Karolina Kowalkiewicz. All three of us?
All three.
All three. Triple P certified, double K. All right. Next, we got Montana of the Roses versus Stephanie Egger. This really is a card harkening back to the first days of starting this podcast. I mean, every single fighter I'm seeing is reminiscent of the early days of this podcast, from Steph Egger to Montana of the Roses and her husband, Mark of the Roses. Montana De La Rose, so 28 years old, taking on 35-year-old Steph Egger, coming off a loss against that Ronda girl, Irina Alexieva, right? Submission via knee bar 4 months ago. Before that, guillotine choked by Tatiana Suarez, lost the decision to Macy Barber. Her only win is against Ariana Lipsky. And, this is a really greasy fight, tough one to call. Egger's dropping down in weight, 135 to 125 from her last fight. She's 7 years older. Really, I think Egger's the better athlete, more hardy, more formidable. I just, how many old ladies am I going to bet on this card? 2 in a row? No, I got to go with the younger one at some point. I like Karolina better. Going with Montana here, MDLR.
I'm going Mountain of the Roses as well. I think she wins this one for sure.
Not a for sure for me, but I do like Montana.
How does she win it? The question is,
decision, Luke. How every fucking woman wins every fight.
Okay.
Jeez, ew.
Right,
with me falling asleep halfway through the fight, and then I don't see the rest of the card.
Beautiful. Dan, you went with MDLR too?
Yes.
Next, we got Manes versus Mendoka. Nate Manes versus Mateus Mendoka. Mateus Mendoka, you guys may remember, he's fought before. I think, is this the guy with... No, I thought this was the guy with the splotchy skin. You know what I'm saying? I forget
Yeah, I gotcha.
But no, it's not. This guy lost to Javid Basharat 7 months ago by decision. No shame there. Manes coming off back-to-back losses against pretty solid competition. Umar Nurmagomedov and Tajir Ulanbekov. So, this guy coming off the Contender Series lost his debut against Basharat. He's going to be 8 years younger than Manes. He's going to be 4 inches shorter, but similar ape index in the sense that his reach is relatively similar. I'm going to go with Mendoka here. I mean, I just think that younger, undefeated prior to coming to the UFC, you get dealt a hammer like Basharat. That's really like,
short notice too.
Short notice, coming off the Contender Series, debutants, short notice fighters all lose at a rate of like 70% in this situation. Then you throw in Basharat. I mean, like, it's a 1% situation. So I'll give him a chance here. Whereas Manes, I feel like you get finished by Tajir. I remember that fight. He was actually dominating Tajir for the most part in that fight and ended up losing. Umar, decision, really. And then, he lost that first round to Gravely, finished him in the second. So his UFC career is shaky, but, we don't like to bet on guys who lose good, right? And that's what we've been trying to get away from. So I'm going away from Manes here. I don't want to try to be like, well, those two guys he just lost to are really good. No, the guy he's fighting is really good. He's going to lose to him too. I'm going with Mendoka.
Oh, man. Don't really have a crazy strong opinion on this one. You're definitely correct in saying that Manes is... he's neither here nor there for me. I'm gonna go with Mateus Mendoca, just based on the fact that we see all the time these guys come in, they get a bunch of first round finishes as he has, and then he gets some UFC jitters as his first fight in the UFC. You know, he draws Javid Basharat, like probably a title contender if he could have some sort of charisma to show through the camera. I like this guy. He's racking up the finishes. I'm looking forward to a bounce back performance for him against Menes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Menes on this one. I just think that Mendoza is a little too unproven, and as Luke said, we're not giving guys the rub just because they lost good. But Nate Menes has won good against Tony Gravely, Johnny Munoz Jr., Kellen Van Camp, some guys that have been in the UFC. No, Kellen Van Camp hasn't been in the UFC. I'm thinking of a different Van Camp. But regardless, he's won against UFC caliber opponents. This guy is very he's susceptible to the ground game, as Javid Basharat showed, if I'm remembering the fight correctly. Hasn't fought since January, and now is getting in there in October. He withdrew against John Castaneda. We still got 2 weeks out from this fight. This fight's happening in spooky season, ladies and gentlemen. But I think I'm just going to go with the tried and true Nate Menes. He's gotten wins in the UFC before. I haven't really seen much from Mendoza except for a very quick finish in a Contender Series fight. Next up, we have a guy we know and love here. A guy we know and love. Chris Gutierrez versus Montel Jackson. Dan, what do you think about this one?
I think Montel Jackson is the man. If you count his Contender Series fight, he's won 8 of his 10 UFC bouts. I think Gutierrez has been exposed in the past with the wrestling, and I think Jackson is the guy to do that all over again, but in an even more explosive, violent manner. So I'm banking on the fact that Jackson's going to be a pretty big favorite on this one, and for justifiable reasons.
So you're going with Jackson, Action Jackson, Montel Quick Jackson, the Quick Jackson.
Jackson Wink.
Jackson Wink. Yeah, I don't know, because Pedro Munoz sucks, who Chris Gutierrez lost against, and Brett Johns. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore, is he? Brett Johns?
The Pikey?
No, he's in Bellator.
I think he left, but he didn't leave because he was bad. Like, he's a really good fighter.
He lost to Danny Sabatello. How good could he possibly be? And Pedro Munoz. So they, and Aljamain Sterling. I mean, other than that, he did pretty well. Yeah, I did like the Pikey. I did like him a lot when he was in the UFC. But he kind of tucked tail there. And then lost to Pat Sabatello. Like, that's not good. That guy stinks. Yeah, I want to go with Chris Gutierrez, but I'm going to go with Montel Jackson, barring he's a minus 500 favorite like he was against Ronnie Aya or whoever the hell he was fighting. He's been a pretty substantial favorite for his last few fights.
Yeah, well, when it comes to Chris Gutierrez, I think that it's not a matter of, trying or the fight with Munoz, he did really well, but it just felt like he was at 32 years old. I feel hold on one second. Before I put my foot in my mouth, let me just make sure of something. Yeah, I don't know. It's so tough because after that knockout of Frankie Edgar, I was like, they're setting Gutierrez up for some success here. And I think they were, guys. I think the success was supposed to happen last weekend. He beats Pedro Munoz. His last name's Gutierrez. Do you think he's fighting this weekend, or do you think he's fighting last weekend?
Last.
And coming off a win against, both Frankie Edgar and Pedro Munoz. Who do you think they're giving him? Because it's not gonna be fucking Montel Jackson, or maybe it will be, because Montel Jackson, he's the guy you should be fighting, but he's not.
He's not the path. He's not the path.
He's ranked what? Is he ranked? He should be
20th. Chris Gutierrez is actually 15th, and Montel Jackson's 20th.
Yeah, I think they wanted to see where he was at with Munoz, and now they're putting him out to pasture with Jackson. Sadly, he might have drew. I don't know who they would have given him instead in that division to try to because how do you go from Edgar Munoz? If he had won against Munoz, who would they have given him? That's my question. You can't go Edgar Munoz Jackson. You know what I mean? Not that Jackson's great. He's better than both those guys, but he's not ranked. He's not a name. So I'm saying it seemed like they were trying to prep Gutierrez or something. It seems like that's something didn't come to fruition. Opportunity doesn't knock twice, doesn't ring the bell, and then come back later. I think he gets beat by Jackson. I think Jackson covers the spread, finishes him. Oh, Jackson's 19. El Guapo's 15 now after the loss to Munoz. So that was from the Jacksons of the world,
Yeah, I actually I take quite umbrage with how this card's set up, at least how it is right now. You got Bobby Green in the main event. Drew Dober knocked out Bobby Green. He's the third fight from the top. Then you got Abdul Rock Al-Hassan, who lost to Joaquin Buckley, who is the curtain jerker for the main card. Then you got Vanessa Demopoulos, who just lost to Karolina Kovalkiewicz. 6 fights up on the card from her, being the prelim headliner. Why is it set up this way? Do you think they're gonna reshuffle this a bit? I mean, we do have some time, boys.
It really makes no sense. I mean, Joe Pyfer,
say it.
I'm just saying, when Dana White likes you and you say yes, it does things for your career. That's what I'm gonna say, because those are the only two variables. It's like we knew Joe Pyfer before he was fucking in the Contender Series. We know where Joe comes from. Joe is not a guy.
We know where he lives.
He's not. I don't think he's managed by Ali Abdelaziz. You know what I mean? Is my point. So he did what he's doing on his own. Is my point. He made the impression he made with Dana White, and he's ran with it in a way that has led him to a co-main event over a lot of guys who, like I said, we've been talking about since we started this podcast 4 years ago. And they're not co-main events. Talking about guys who, like we said, got opportunities against Frankie Edgar in his hometown, and they're in the prelims. Drew Dober, a guy who knocked out the main event, is behind Joe Pyfer on the card. Like we said, this is a couple weeks away. It could shake out differently. They often do. Usually when we're doing the fucking prelims show, the order has been restructured. You know what I mean? And we have to fucking address that. So, or not the prelims show, the Patreon show, I mean.
Fine-tooth comb.
The fine-tooth comb club, everybody. So if you want to get the fine-tooth comb breakdown of Fiziev versus Gamrot, make sure you join the Patreon. It's fucking pennies a day, guys. It's really not even going to us. What we actually decided that we're going to do is start gambling with the Patreon money. So what I think is the next time I look at the balance, I check it every few days, or not days. It's actually every few months I check it, but I'm going to check it, and it's going to say $1,000 or over $1,000 at some point soon. And I'm going to be like, okay, guys, who do we want to bet this on? And I'm thinking, it's Aaron Blanchfield, a bet like that, a plus 135, who we're very passionate about, who we Triple B certify.
And they ain't running that Valentina fight back. They ain't run. Aaron Blanchfield was in the crowd.
Let's talk about that, because we actually addressed it on the Patreon, the Fine Tooth Comb Club, but we didn't get into it in the YouTube this week. We're going to start doing a lot of the recaps on the Patreon on the Fine Tooth Comb Club, but let's just give everybody.
I said it in the Discord. The Queen and the King were both there tonight. Nate Diaz in the crowd. Aaron Blanchfield in the crowd. The King and Queen.
The Queen is Miss Brittany, Nate's wife. So, anyway, listen. So, because she was there too. So, listen. Let me just say this.
No, the Queen of MMA.
So she's not the Queen of MMA. She's not the queen of MMA.
She is coming for that
throne.
throne.
Is the Queen of MMA.
That's what I just said. Aaron Blanchfield.
She's the uncrowned queen who is.
Bitch, did I not just say Aaron Blanchfield and Nate Diaz were in the crowd? The Queen and King
of
MMA.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Valentina was the queen. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And the only person robbed that night was Aaron Blanchfield of her opportunity to go in the ring and get her nose in Alex Grasso's face, and then it would have really been UFC no check, because they would have had to kill the lights because shit would have popped off in that ring. I bet cold blooded ain't here to fucking take pictures. Anyway, so the main event went to a draw, guys. Oh, I said this in the Patreon. Grasso, she dropped her in round 2. She had her in back mount, was smashing her out in the last round. I'm not that upset. I get why everyone's upset in that Chris Lee essentially decided the draw on his own by being the one judge to do 10-8 in the last round. And, people are upset about this. This is what I want you guys to consider. This is a gambling show. It's an entertainment show first. It's a picks show. It's a prediction show, but it's a gambling show. So let's talk about this. If you bet Valentina, if you bet Grasso, and they gave it to the other person, you would be way more upset than if it was a draw, right? So I'm not mad about draws. I like draws. I'd rather have more draws than me feeling like I'm robbed one way or the other. And I'm even not upset about the review and the no contests. I mean, I don't want a no contest being reviewed for a glancing shot to the back of the head during transition. I don't want them to be reviewed for a glancing headbutt in a transition. But in a situation like this where the fight is stopped and the guy doesn't tap, it's pretty obvious to review it, right? So I'd rather, even though I was robbed plus 200 on Lacerda, if he was able to get the win that night, which I thought he was, I'd rather have the no contest. Even though I was robbed plus.
Granted, Luke has said that Lacerda is the next Conor McGregor every single one of his fights.
All I'm saying is he was 0-4, and they're keeping him around, and the roulette wheel had to come up fucking black eventually, So Lacerda was a fine bet. Point is this. For everybody saying that they're mad about the draw, take the round scoring out of it entirely. Forget how they scored the rounds. And consider this. One judge scored it for Valentina. One judge scored it for Grasso. One judge scored it a draw. You're mad about the draw. Why aren't you mad whether you had Grasso or Valentina? Why aren't you mad about the judge who scored it for the entire other person? Isn't that what you should be more mad about? You're willing to concede that this judge scored it for her and this judge scored it for her, and apparently you're okay with that because you're focusing on Chris Lee. But it's like, why are you okay with one judge scoring it? I'm assuming that if you're not okay with the draw, you in your mind thought Valentina won or Grasso won. Well, why are you more mad at the guy who thought it was close than the person who thought it was the entire other way?
I
Get
agree.
mad at the person who was going to screw you out of your money is my point. Don't get mad at the guy who just said, let's keep everybody fucking happy. And Vegas is happy. The bettors are happy. The girls are happy. Valentina is salty, but she's always salty. She always thinks she won a close fight, guys. She's done this with Amanda Nunes twice. She's done this with, I think, who else? I mean, she does this all the time. And I'm not saying I'm like over Valentina. She's cool. She's a competitor. Do your thing. But people are big fans of her, and they love to, in America, and we love to fucking lift up a victim and make her the victim. And she's not even a victim. It was a draw, guys. It was a fucking draw. She got dropped in one round. She got fucking pounded in another round. Dominated in the submission area, meaning if you take somebody's back, that is the most dominant place you can be in grappling because they can't see you. You can see them. You can hit them. They can't hit you. Okay?
Back of the head strike should be legal. Back of the head strike should be legal.
If back of the head strikes were legal, if this was the streets, then Alexa Grasso would have just made soup. Legalize 10-6 elbows and back of that to the back of that. And then Valentina's in a wheelchair. Alexa Grasso is having a fiesta. You know what I mean? So,
and I know what you guys are saying. The clock is 12-6, but Luke lives on a whole different planetary scale as us.
guys,
He goes on Mercury time. You gotta think this through a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably think that that North points up. I mean, it points somewhere else. Let's be real. So here's the thing. Just calm down. Chris Lee is questionable. He does have a potentially, in my opinion, possibly.
But Luke, I'm not mad at that because fights should be scored accumulatively, not round by round, not on a round by round basis. You should be able to say, okay, I think these two draw tonight. Why do I have to make a game time decision on the round and then
why do I have to hand in something I don't agree with? Why do I have to go, well, I guess I scored it for her, but all in all, I don't really think that. You know what I mean?
Pride, the last round was weighted more, wasn't it? Whoever was like winning
Well,
toward
the first
end.
round in Pride was 10 minutes. The first round was longer. So I guess the first round, I guess, would be weighted more, I guess, because if
I thought in Pride, if you won toward the end of the fight, you were pretty much guaranteed to win because the accumulation.
There were a lot of things in Pride, and that's not really the argument, right? Because the argument isn't, are we playing basketball, wiffle ball, or fucking t-ball? The argument is, these are the rules, and this was. But here's the thing, guys: the judges have a subjective criteria that has been changed as recently as 6 years ago. So your opinion, based on 20 years of watching the sport, is a mishmash of what you used to think was the scoring criteria, what the scoring criteria is now, what you're looking at as an we're all drunk, we're watching the fight, we're entertained by it, we're not watching it as a judge. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways that can help, in a lot of ways that can hurt. But I'm just trying to say that everybody's willing to concede that a lot of the rounds were close. Everybody's willing to concede that Valentina won round 1, that Grasso won round 5, that Grasso won, I think it was round 2 that she dropped her. So 2 and 5 for Grasso, 1 definitely for Valentina. I think either 3 or 4 was definitely for Valentina, but not dominantly like 2 or 5 were. Not even close to 10-8. And some people will say, yeah, no, well, if you give Grasso the 10, you should give her. But think about it. Go rewatch it. Did you really think? Like, I was watching when, to me, in a boxing match, a kickboxing match, you get dropped, that's a 10-8. So if we're using boxing-based scoring and she gets dropped on the feet and then doesn't do anything to Grasso to equalize that,
and what are the two biggest criteria?
Got to be more than a 10-9, right? Then it's got to be more than a 10-9. So I think draws should be actually more liberal. I think 10-8s should actually be a little bit more liberal because there are so many 10-9s and there's so few 10-8s. Like, let's have more 9-9 rounds, 2, or 10-10, right? Like whatever you want to call it. But have more rounds where you go, nothing happened, nobody got the edge. It shouldn't be that the round is totally equal, and then the one person who does something that's like still nothing, pushing against the fence towards the last minute of the round, gets that round, and then the other person dominates them in the next round, beats the shit out of them, and gets the same score as they got in the first one. That doesn't make any sense. So we all can agree on that, right? We can all agree that Ngannou versus Lewis, the first round, could have been a fucking 9-9 or a 10-10, right? Just like the fucking last round. So if the round, Ngannou versus Lewis, that first round that they had, one of them won at 10-9, but also Alexa Grasso, Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza, one of them won all 5 rounds 10-9, and then Grasso won the 2 rounds she won 10-9 too. Those are 10-9, and so are all the rounds in the Carla and Rose fight. Those are all 10-9s, and so are the 2 rounds Grasso won in her fight.
I think the main argument is that we need to get 10-7 in the mix more because then the 8 could be like a median. No. I'm saying like a pure domination. You're on somebody.
10-8 is enough for pure domination.
10-7.
Enough because
because
it's 10-8 round in a 3-round fight. Alex, let me tell you why. One 10-8 round in a 3-round fight can force a draw, and if that's the only round where you had any success, and the other 2 were clearly won by the other opponent, you should get a draw. However, if the 2 rounds were so close, right? Like you're saying, like, well, nothing really happened in the 2 rounds, and this one person won the round dominantly. Well, if they were so close, why didn't one of the judges give the person who won the round dominantly one of those 2? Because they weren't that close. So if you win 2 rounds close, 10-9, and then one person dominates in the middle, you got to make it a draw. You can't. And hey, sometimes somebody will dominate in the middle, and one of the judges will score it for that person too on the close round, and then it'll be a majority decision, right? So close decisions will continue to happen. Draws will happen more, but it'll be less robberies. The people will be complaining about robberies will be complaining about draw robberies.
I get what you're saying, but
it saves money.
But so the crux of my argument is that a nothing round where somebody has to win should be a 10-9. And then a round where, because think about like a Javid Basharat fight where he's just smothering somebody on top, hitting them with strikes from the top the entire round. That's scored as a 10-8. And then there's some 10-8s that you're like, oh, well, I didn't necessarily think that was like that dominant. That could be a good median between the two. I'm saying like the 10-9 should be for, okay, I got to pick somebody won this round. The 10-8, somebody definitely won this round. The 10-7 is complete and pure domination. And if you judge it on that, then you're going to get more 10-8s, less 10-7s, and less 10-9s. And then the scoring will change. It will equal itself out.
I just did the math. If you win one 10-7 round, like let's say you come out first round, Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard. We call that a 10-7. Gray Maynard 10-7s Frankie Edgar in that first round. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Frankie wins every other round close. Okay. Every single other round close. If he did, I think one of the rounds Gray won. But if he wins every other round close, all four, that means that Frankie still wins. He wins.
Exactly.
No. Actually, no. Sorry. Yeah, he wins 47. He wins 47-46.
Yes.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No. 40.
Now,
48-46.
But if let's say the guy who wins the 10-7 also wins one other round, then it's a draw. So in that case, he would have won 2 rounds. One of them 10-7. 47-47 would be the final score if the other guy wins the other 3.
But do you want to hear something crazy? I think the last round, if you win dominantly in the last round, it should be scored 10-6 regardless. Because because if we're in a fight and guess what? Schoolyard rules. At the end of the fight, I'm pounding you away like Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev. Guess what? All of that shit you did early wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to keep the dog away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we would go that far, but I think that just naturally that's what we saw with Chris Lee, right? Like, so I think that naturally the judges have an inherent recency bias almost, or an inherent bias to what they believe the correct outcome was. And then they just grade accordingly. And that's what kind of happened. And, I mean, it is what it is, guys. I just think people need to stop bitching a little bit.
Why not? Valentina didn't win every round.
I just want to keep bitching, but just don't be lame about it. Like, call it for what it is. It was a close fight, and you're mad about the way one round was scored. It's like there were 2 rounds that I believe were at least in the conversation for 10-8, and only one of them got scored by one guy. So it's like, okay, I mean, all 3 didn't. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy.
I think the last round is the most arguable 10-8. I don't think if it wasn't for the knockdowns.
Make sure you timestamp this.
Well, how am I going to fucking timestamp it at this point? We've already talked about it.
Write down what time we're at now, and then when you are doing the timestamps, go back like 10 minutes and find where it started.
No.
Yes, that's what timestamping is.
No, I do it as it comes. We're
pissing Dan off. He's got papers to grade. He's got football to watch. So we really got to get through this card, and we're only on fight number.
Listen, the 7:00 game today sucks. So you're not missing.
I forgot there was another game. All right.
There's a 7 and an 8.
I'm not pissed. I am good. I'm here.
And Dan, this game sucks. It's 0-0. They're both.
I don't care about the game. I know.
Both got rid of the ball twice. If you haven't won your fantasy week already, then you must have bum players, unless you have Nick Chubb or something.
No, I'm gonna win fantasy, but I just gotta cross that finish line.
Oh yeah, boy. But without further ado, let's get on to the next fight. What did the people pay for it? Actually, the YouTube audience, you pay for nothing. So we'll get on to the next fight.
Wait. Johnny, one last thing. Everybody complaining about the robbery in the main event. Talk about the Holland fight. Talk about the Padilla fight. Padilla left that guy's face, Nelson, looking like it was a fucking pile of used butcher entrails by the end of it. Holland doubled him up in strikes in terms of volume thrown. Now, you want to say, oh, well, the significant strikes, the accuracy, the Jack was landing more. Guys, nobody even watching the fight on TV could discern who was actually connecting or landing their strikes more. All the strikes were slipping and glancing throughout the whole fight. So you're telling me 3 judges who apparently don't have significant strike data, don't have total strike data. You're telling me they, with their through the cage, with their fucking judge minds that we talk about being dumb all the time, they were able to say, oh, well, even though Kevin Holland was throwing literally double the strikes that Jack was throwing, oh, well, Jacks are landing. You can see through the gloves. He's connect. No, it was either complete fucking screw job shit. It was pathetic. It was unpatriotic.
Or you're just listening to another guy
from Texas. He drove to Las Vegas. Jack Della flew all the way from fucking Australia. You think Kevin would have gotten treated that way in Australia? Hell no. So we should have given it to Kevin. That was bullshit. That being said, Kevin Holland sometimes doesn't try hard enough. I'll throw him away. Padilla fucking whooped Nelson's ass, dude. Those two fights to me were way more based on the most recent scoring criteria, glaring robberies than the main event being a draw. So, moving on.
And the choking issue.
Moving on. We talked about that on the Patreon. We got to move on.
No, I know.
Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Richie Lang. 12-3, Johnny Munoz Jr. He is coming out of California. He was hanging out with Tito Ortiz as a very young man. I have respect for him. The Daniel Santos fight, he went in there and he took a beating, stuck in there for the whole decision, didn't get finished. That was very recently, 2 months ago. I'm a little bit worried about that. 30 years old, taking on the Mongolian. Arichi Lang coming off the knockout loss equally as long ago from Ayman Zahabi 2 months ago. Both guys literally coming back after losses, beatdowns, brain damage. But I like my man Johnny Munoz, and this kid Kavempo is going to fuck up the Mongolian murderer. There's never been a Chinese male champion, only one. Her name's Weili Zhang. The champion has a name, but I'm going with the kid who hangs out with Tito Ortiz.
Brain damage. Yeah, I'm going with Arichi Lang. Johnny Munoz. I mean, these jiu-jitsu guys who can't get it to the mat.
Dan was going to pick Arichi Lang. I knew Dan was going to pick Arichi Lang.
Of course.
Now we're an hour in, but we're 2 hours in. We did the whole Patreon episode. We got drunk during. Now we're drunk now. I was drunk when I flew the plane. I'm drunk now. So Dan's stupid for this. Do not listen to him. He had a couple dumbass picks on the addendum episode too. I'm not going to call him out on him, but like one that speaks out. He picked Jake Collier on the first episode. He didn't change his mind, guys. Don't go to the Patreon episode expecting us to be certified Usman. He didn't change his mind. Dan is still on Jake Collier, Fat Collier, coming in there against the fucking specimen, Muhammad Usman. Muhammad Usman's going to pick him up, bite his neck, eat him, kill him, dead. Dan actually switched. I'm not even going to tell you who he switched to. Go watch the Patreon episode. Let's just say, go watch the Patreon episode, guys. But Dan literally won $1,100 last weekend. He came in. He's like, I'm gonna fucking turn it into $3,000 this week, and I was so eager to hear.
He's giving it all back. He's giving
it all back, guys. So check out the Patreon episode for more hilarity, and that's patreon.com/perfectplaypursuit. It's the Fine Tooth Comb Club. We're gonna be calling it the Comb Club. So if you're new to the show and you're like, what's the Comb Club?
The Fine Tooth Comb Club is a mouthful. We just gotta.
It's called the Fine Tooth Comb Club, but then it's
no. It should just be
a nickname for it is the Comb Club.
Comb Club strictly. Comb Club strictly is what I think. That's my vote. Okay. I casted my vote.
You can call it,
and I'm gonna cast my vote on this fight now.
The Comb Club is the nickname. It's like calling what's a famous golf course? Augusta. They call Augusta. They go, you go into the. They probably I don't know. They probably have nicknames for Augusta. So the Fine Tooth Comb Club is like Augusta, and then we say the Comb Club to shorten it.
Luke, as my golf coach told me in high school, Augusta, they wouldn't even let you through the front gate. The way you look, they wouldn't let a guy like you come in.
That's what they said to you, huh?
Yeah.
They wouldn't.
That's what my golf coach.
They wouldn't. I mean,
they would turn you away. And
you look better than you did then than you do now.
I know, which is the craziest part.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. The foot. Plenty of famous private courses have earned abbreviations that have become part of the lingo. Winged foot is simply the foot. So yeah, the winged foot is like the Fine Tooth Comb Club, and then the foot. You go into the foot. It's like you see what I'm saying, guys?
The link.
Oh, the Riviera Country Club outside of LA is simply known as the Riv. Victoria National in Indiana, the Vic. See what I'm saying, guys? I literally think things that exist that I don't even know that exist, and then they do exist. That's my life. I just go, I'll bet there's like a bunch of lingo for famous country club, and there is. You know what I mean? Like there already is. That's why I get through life so easily, guys, because I don't waste time looking things up or thinking about things. I just already know them.
Would you let me get my Degum pick so we can get off of this boring fight and get on to the good stuff?
It's gonna be a great fight.
Get on to the good stuff.
It's gonna be a great fight.
All right. Well, I am going to be the tiebreaker here. We got Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Arichi Lang, in case you forgot. These guys are the same age. I think that Johnny Munoz Jr. probably fought better competition, but all the best guys that he's fought, he's lost to. Arichi Lang, at least we have some memory of Arichi Lang beating bad guys too and losing to decent guys as well. So this fight for me is going to be the weirdo fight of the night. If you bet on this, you're an absolute weirdo. You should contact 1-800-GAMBLER if you're in New York, NY Hope, 1-800. I don't know what the fuck it is. But I'm just going to
1-800-9 with it.
I'm going to feed the hot hand here, and I'm going to go with Danny, and I'm going to pick up Richie Lang.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't want to waste time making fun of you as much as I did Danny, but I think equally as less of you as I did Danny. Kanato Murata versus Vanessa Demopoulos, the Greek versus the Japanese. Two ladies born in islands that are known for luxurious vacation destinations. One of them 30, that is Murata, and Demopoulos, the little monster, is 35. She's coming off that loss to Karolina Kowalkiewicz 2 months ago, the one we talked about earlier. And, not a good look for her, right? We talk about, Karolina being
terrible look.
But she's an old lady herself, too. She's 35. So she lost to JJ Aldridge. She lost to Karolina. 3 wins in between, one of them being a split decision. And, on her debut against Randa Marcos, Murata got the win. She came in there against my girl Verna Jandaroba, and it was that TKO stoppage due to the arm and shoulder injury, if you remember that. Going with Murata here. Demopoulos, I have all the respect in the world for her. I love her. She missed weight in her last fight. She's 35. I just think that the other girl is a little bit more outstanding. So give me the wrestler, the Japanese, Kanako Murata.
I couldn't agree more. I did a little bit of a deep dive on Kanako Murata, and she was I think, U17 world champion in freestyle wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. She made the Japanese team, won Asian gold quite a few times. But that's huge. That is huge. You got Vanessa Demopoulos, and I don't want to speak out of turn here, but isn't she a former stripper?
I believe so.
While Vanessa Demopoulos was taking her top off, Kanko Murata was taking dudes down. Dudes down, women down, children down.
And not to Pound Town.
And not to Pound Town, which, strippers oftentimes have dual jobs. Besides the point, I'm going to go with Kanko Murata here. She's a wrestling savage. She's going to go out there and get it done. She's going to take Vanessa down. Vanessa, her days of twerking, jumping in Joe Rogan's arms, they're over. They're done. She's going to go
on a high watermark moment.
Yes, she's going to go on a 4-fight skid. The UFC women's strawweight division is so shallow that she might even stay in on the 4-fight skid. But I'm here for it. I'll be betting against her for the next 3 fights, 4 fights if the UFC will keep her just because she has that viral moment. I'm going to go with Kanako Murata. Dan, what do you think?
Looking at the Tapology picture of Murata, I'm really not liking what I'm seeing. Her and her coach look like they just won a competition for wing eating at a local dive bar. Doesn't look very professional whatsoever. Vanessa Demopoulos, always professional in any endeavor that she's ever been in.
She won a wing eating competition, much like a Kobayashi.
Take a look at the picture. Look at the Tapology picture. Do you see it? Are you looking at it?
You're saying she looks like she won a wing.
She looks like her and her coach just went to a wing eating competition at a New Jersey dive bar.
I thought you were going to say Vanessa Demopoulos looks like one of the women who would stand at Wing Bowl from her picture. But that was just my thoughts when I heard you go in the wing direction.
All coaches look like that, look like fat slobs. But
no. It's not even being the fat slob. It's like we all know guys who are fat slobs that have a story or two from back in the day where they show their toughness. This guy was never tough. He's got too nice of a smile, too nice of a face.
Those who can't do, teach.
What do you mean?
Those who can't do teach. It's a famous expression.
I know the expression. I just don't know how it applies.
He's our coach. You said he doesn't look like he was tough. Well, he doesn't need to be. He's a teacher.
True.
What was there not to understand about that?
Also, look at his glasses compared to my glasses. Okay, he's got the little rectangle glasses. These are men's glasses. Okay, they're squares. It's a big old square. Rough jacket.
I mean, I want to let you cook, but sometimes I forget that you're like doing a lot of this for the audience, not necessarily trying to convince me. I mean, I hope you're not trying to convince me. I'm not. I mean, all right, look, it's a lady fight. Like, I'm not going to die on this hill. Like, Vanessa Demopoulos may win. You know, she may win. Is that what you want me to say?
That's what I'm banking on. Yeah.
Okay. She better be an underdog then. If you're going to bet on her, it better be plus 250. That's the only. That's the only. If it was plus 250, I would go, all right, we're getting a little crazy here, and I would bet Vanessa Demopoulos. Which is so interesting because I'm the famous guy who says it doesn't matter what the odds are, it matters what's going to happen. But I'm always, and I'll tell you this, audience, it has nothing to do with the odds, right? It's not like I'm greedy and I'm like, I want to get the money. What it has to do with is how I look at the odds and what I know the odds to be. Same reason that I'm really good at picking good entry points in stocks or cryptocurrency is the same reason I'm good at picking entry points for fighters, is because I understand the market represents human psychology. The market represents the fans, the bettors, the watcher. It represents the public, right? So what do we know? There's a famous quote in stock trading. It says, the market is schizophrenic, okay? The market, the betting market, any market is schizophrenic. It's going to react all irrationally. It's why I got the Colorado at plus 125 when they opened at minus 1,000. Think about that. I won $125 on what would have cost me $1,000. It would have cost me $1,000 to win that on Colorado money line. I managed to win that same team, same night, same event. I managed to win that with only $100. It's because the market is crazy. It acts irrationally. So if I'm seeing a lot of movement in one direction, I'm going, okay, that tells me something. It doesn't tell me that like Vegas is trying to entice me. It tells me that people are thinking one way, and I'm not that type of guy to think with the public. I've never seen Avatar. I don't go and run to the movie theater for Oppenheimer or Barbie. I sit home and I watch neither. You know what I mean? So I will not be mocked. Let's move on. Alex Morono, Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley's a guy I feel really bad for. He wants to get a big fight. He deserves a big fight. He had the viral moment. He had one of the biggest Instagram videos of all time on the UFC's Instagram page. He deserves big fights. He deserves to be smashing guys like Ian Gary out, not having to wade through the waters of Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, Albert Duraev, Imavov, fucking Fiallo. Like, he should not be fighting these guys. Now he's got to fight Morono. This better be the last fucking guy that Buckley has to fight that doesn't have a big name. Give my guy Buckley some big name guys at 170. Give him Usman. That's who I want him to fight when he beats Morono. I'm picking Buckley. This is a terrible matchup for him. Terrible fight. Morono, cerebral fighter, patient fighter, awkward fighter. Buckley, knocked out before, kind of chinny, hittable. Definitely not a fight I'm going to be high on, especially if Buckley's the favorite. I'm expecting Buckley to come in as like a plus 200 underdog here. But I want to bet Buckley. I like his reach. I think that he's got more athleticism. And I know that Morono had big problems against Jeff Neal when they trained together. And that tells me that Morono, his style is good against guys that he doesn't have the same, that he doesn't. Morono throws fucking rocks on ropes. That guy, he fucking swings. But if he feels that same threat, I think it shuts him down a little bit. So he was beaten up on Ponzinibbio. He got knocked out. Ponzinibbio throws that shit back. You know what I mean? So I think that if you look at the guys he's beat, they're guys that he's able to keep docile, tame a little bit. Buckley will not be tamed. He's going to knock him out, possibly with something emphatic.
Joaquin Buckley for the win. Big old jacked athlete dude guy versus not jacked athlete guy. Yeah, he does the woo-woo. You know, he's got that weird style that throws people off. Buckley's going to connect on one. And when he does connect on it, that's all he's going to need.
You know what this fight reminds me of? Usman versus Collier. And to hear Dan take a completely opposite take as he did on the Collier and Usman fight is appalling. It's despicable, and he should be investigated for sure.
Yeah, like Usman will beat Collier in any competition they play, from beer pong to fucking bag toss to horseshoes to football to tennis. Literally, there's not a game they could, a foot race. There's nothing that you could put Collier picking up a girl at a bar. There's nothing Collier.
No, not picking up a girl at a bar.
Yeah, maybe in one of the bars down there in Collier.
Any bar Collier is going to. Any single bar Collier is going to.
Collier's
Bar-
got
Like
charm.
if Collier goes
Collier's
to
got
Applebee's,
charm.
yeah, Collier in Applebee's, he's overpowered. He's gonna pick up all the nurses at Applebee's drinking their bottomless margaritas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're used to seeing guys like him in Applebee's. Usman wouldn't be caught dead in a fucking Applebee's. Usman's had the title since fucking aught 11, and he's been eating with his brother at fucking Fogo de Chao. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And that sign ain't ever going red. With Usman, that sign is not.
I've never
going
been to
red.
Fogo de Chao, but I'm sure that's a funny reference.
You put up green when you
I just go move on.
Yeah.
I don't need the audience knows. Don't guys.
Charlie Campbell down here explaining the joke.
That was the joke. The joke was in the Dan. You don't even know anything, dude.
I'm more of a what's that guy? Chuck. I'm more of a Chuck Buffalo than a Chuck.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that guy's name is. At least
Yeah, I lean more towards the Manel Cap, Short King kind of side of things.
At least with Chuck Buffalo, he said what he said with conviction. Okay, he said exactly what he said. He said it with
one guy
conviction.
in the audience in the eyes. he was like, I'm mad at that guy. I love it. So let's move on. We're all taking Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And we go forward. Felipe.
Even though I didn't make my pick, but yeah, I'll take Buckley.
You said that you were mad at Dan.
Oh, I was mad at Dan, but I didn't officially make my pick yet. But
Okay,
yes.
go ahead. Make it official.
All right. Triple B certified Joaquin Buckley.
All right, next up, I'm taking Ian Cutelaba because I hate Felipe Lins and I love Ian Cutelaba. Wait, but I always mix Felipe Lins up with somebody else. Is this the guy that I think it is?
It is. It's
Oh, no,
the guy who won the
This is the guy that I
PFL.
like. I like this guy. No, I like this guy.
Great head of hair.
I didn't
Beautiful.
like him when he lost to Andre Arlovsky. I hated him even more when he lost to Tanner Bozer. But then I started to like him, but now I don't like him again. I'm going with Ian Cutelaba. This guy, Lins won the $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the mill. I mean, Alex has been trying to say this guy is not going to ever win again since he won the mill.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Right, you were right twice in a row, and then you've been wrong 3 times in a row. He beat
Exactly.
Pacino, he beat Vince St. Peru, he beat Maxim Grishin. You picked against him, I think, all 3 of those fucking times.
I thought that $1 million would go a long way in Brazil, but somehow Felipe Lins is fighting with a new fire under his ass. He must have wasted it all. He must have wasted every single dollar, hang gliding, surfing, whatever the hell you do in Brazil. But Felipe Lins, I think, is going to win this fight. He's fought way higher. Actually, he hasn't fought that much higher competition. If you look at MMA math, which never fucking works, Ian Cutelaba should win this fight because he beat Tanner Bozer by knockout. Tanner Bozer knocked out Felipe Lins by knockout. MMA math doesn't work. So
It works all the time.
Never works. Has
It works
never worked
all
once.
the time. I have such a good theater voice, by the way, that I can yell, and the YouTube audience, they could be literally working a warehouse job with max volume turned up in their headphones, and it will not hurt their ears. And if it did hurt your ears when I just yelled right there, comment and tell me I'm wrong. But I'll bet it didn't. Meanwhile, when Alex yells with his fancy microphone, he blows your eardrums out. I never do. Because I know, because I'm a real artist and I know my setup, I know my surroundings, I know the acoustics in my room. I have a theater voice. I project from the diaphragm. You know I can project from the diaphragm because when I go like this, you can hear a difference. See how you hear a difference? When I talk, when I pinch my nose.
Tip of the tongue, teeth in the lips.
Okay.
Luke, the reason
Pinch your nose, Dan.
the reason I might be louder than you is because I have to talk over you boneheads all the time. I can't get out 2 words without getting cut off.
I'm not going to say
talked
why.
over.
I'm not going to say why, but go ahead. Listen, just give your pick.
All I know is I'm the only guy who hasn't had to have anything cut out in the last month. Okay, the only guy here.
Shame. You have no shame. You never regret anything you say.
I don't regret it.
That
You
says
still.
more- that says- that-
I don't regret it.
Don't regret what you say. And
I
never
don't
apologize.
regret it, and you cut it out anyway because you're looking out for my best interest, which I appreciate.
We rarely cut things out, folks, and we never do on the Patreon. Please get into there to the Patreon if you want to hear our true opinions. If you want to hear, oh, by the way, I wanted to say this on the Patreon, but I can't. I didn't get a chance to. Let me just say this: Faraz Zahabi, punk bitch. I used to idolize this guy, but he's a punk bitch. If you want to hear why, tune into the Patreon next week. I'm going to go into it in great detail with video clips. I'm going to show clips of Faraz, what he said, what he's done, why he's on notice. Faraz Zahabi, you used to be cool. You're a punk bitch. You have never coached another person besides Drew St. Pierre. Get another title challenger. Get even a title challenger before you want to be in this rarefied air of MMA GOAT coaches. Because what you said in one of your most recent videos was so terrible that you're going to be called out for it on the Patreon by me. And I used to fucking idolize you, Faraz, but you're a punk bitch now.
Well, Luke, one request: if you're gonna be doing this expose on Faraz Zahabi,
Big time. It's
please,
about Faraz, Dylan Dennis, Logan Paul, Nina Agdal may be involved. We're gonna get into it in the Patreon.
and when you do it, please don't just show up with clips on your phone. As the producer of the show, I want you to make those videos into
I'll pull them up.
drops.
I'm gonna pull up the
pull 'em
exact
up.
video. I'm gonna play Faraz.
Perfect.
You guys can be the judge. But if you ask me, it's punk bitch behavior. He should be definitely checked for this. He should be checked legally, metaphorically.
I feel like I'm going to be in support of Faraz after this.
Dude, no, you will not be. No one could be. All right, let's move on. So I'm taking Ian Cutelaba by knockout. No, I'm sorry. I'm not taking him by knockout, but damn if I don't want to take him, right? I definitely want to take him, but I'm taking Linz.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm going with Ian Cutelaba. Feel like
You're giving it back, Danny. You're giving it all back.
I'm not.
Give it all back, Danny.
First of all, this is 2 fight cards from now, so all my money will be gone by this point anyway.
So I'm with you. He's younger. He's faster. He's more agile. He's more sleek. He's meaner. He's tougher. He's gonna knock out Linz like he knocked out Bozer, who knocked out Linz. It's a chain reaction. I'm taking fucking Ian Cutelaba, Dan. I'm with you.
Linz is a heavyweight. Cutelaba is a true light heavyweight. He's going to be faster. Everything that you just said. Plus, Linz, he could be a little trigger shy, I feel like. Whereas that is not Cutelaba's problem. So
yes, Linz is stiff as a board. He's not going to be the one taking him down. If anything, I think that he could end up on top from a chaotic scramble. Linz could end up on top. That could be very bad. But if Ian comes in there with his nipples rock hard, he could win this.
yeah.
And credit to you guys because I've gotten the first
Never
2
picked.
Felipe Linz fights right. I've been on the wrong side of him ever since, but I've been picking against him. So
And now
maybe
you're
I'm
flipping. And now you're flipping because you're a
Exactly.
beaten dog. He beat you 3 times in a row. He went smack, smack, smack. And you're like, okay, don't hit me again. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Mhm.
and guess what? You know how many times Ian Cutelaba's done that to me? I've picked Ian Cutelaba in every fight he's ever had. I picked him against Magomed Ankalaev 5 times. And not only did he pull out, get COVID, everything else.
this
but
could be a
lost.
situation where I'm fading a bad fighter with a worse fighter.
That's what you're doing. And I think that we shouldn't. I'm glad you're on Linz. You know, we're a ways away from this match. We'll super heads will prevail eventually. But for now, we have 2 mainstays of this podcast. 2 guys we've been talking about who've been super active all throughout the entirety of this show. Pandemic heroes, if you will, especially the one I'm going to name first. Bill Algeo out of King of Prussia, PA. Stand up Mid-Atlantic region. Senior Perfecto. 6 foot tall. Every bit of 6 foot, 145, lanky son of a bitch down there in King of Prussia, PA. He's coming in here with his own jiu-jitsu school, Algeo MMA and kickboxing. 34 years old, 3 years older than the San Antonio boy, coming down from 155 to move to featherweight. Alex the Great Ape Hernandez. I think Alex Hernandez coming off that win against Jim Miller, the submission specialist, is going to have primed him nice for Mr. Algeo, who just got that submission rear naked choke win against TJ downtown choke artist Brown. But what I don't like about Bill Algeo is absolutely nothing. What I don't like about Hernandez is a lot. He finds ways to get knocked out by punchers. He finds ways to get submitted by Brazilians. He finds ways to lose decisions. He is able to knock out shitty guys. He's able to decision old guys, but I don't think he's going to be able to get past the 6 foot tall, lanky son of a bitch, Bill Algeo. My only worry about this fight is that the wrestler in Hernandez comes out, takes him down, gets on top. Bill Algeo, being a jiu-jitsu guy, takes back position, loses this one, how he lost the Feely fight. That could happen. but that probably will happen. I hope Algeo is an underdog for that exact reason, because stylistically, it favors Hernandez. I'm going to have to pick Hernandez.
No, you're not going to pick Hernandez.
I'm going to pick
Here's why.
Hernandez. I'm picking
Hernandez is going to win.
I don't want to. I want Bill Algeo to win this fight. This is why this podcast has kind of ruined my fandom for the sport, because I would love to root for Bill Algeo, but from a betting perspective, I got to pick Hernandez. Unless he's an outrageous favorite, like a disrespectful favorite. But all in all, I just kind of think that but Bill Algeo is such a finisher. Fuck it. Balls on the glass. I'm going Algeo.
Balls on the glass, Algeo. I can almost guarantee Alex Hernandez wins the first round of this fight and then ends up losing the fight. He's a gas artist. Cutting down to 145 will only hurt him more. I know that might sound crazy. But he's getting older. We saw this young up-and-comer, Alex Hernandez, hadn't lost a single fight except for to Jamal Emmers in a split decision, his third fight ever. And then he comes in talking all this mess about sending Donald Cerrone to a geriatric home, which I called for last week. But guess what? This was 3 years too early. Cowboy was still kicking, and he kicked the shit out of him. He kicked the shit out of Alex Hernandez. And Alex Hernandez is going to get his ass kicked. It's not going to be early in the first round. Alex Hernandez is going to come in hard. Alex Hernandez has never really been a wrestler. He's been really relying on that right hand of his. And Bill Algeo, he might get caught a couple times in the first round. He might lose the first round. But Bill Algeo is going to show the dog, the King of Prussia Mall dog in him, and come back and win this fight.
Alex Hernandez is going to kick the shit out of Bill Algeo. First round knockout, quite possibly. If not, maybe somewhere towards mid round of the second. But hands are way better, much more powerful. Algeo doesn't possess that finishing ability that you would need against an Alexander Hernandez. And obviously, I'm a fan of Algeo and Algeo Jiu-Jitsu up there at the KOP. But, this is a bad matchup for him. I think the young lion feasts on the gazelle. Algeo even looks like a gazelle. He's got the body type of a gazelle. This is a Hernandez fight.
Dan, I agree with you. Bill Algeo might look the part of somebody that Alex Hernandez would take out. But if you look at who Algeo has lost to, Billy Q, he is damn near identical to Billy Algeo. Hanato Moicano, long, lanky guy. Tiago Moises, yes, he's a little bit of a shrimp. Drew Dober, he's a little bit of a shrimp. But Donald Cerrone. So out of the 6 people he's lost against, they've been long, lanky guys. And Francisco Trinaldo, the guys he's beaten, Francisco Trinaldo, short, stocky. Jim Miller, short, stocky. I don't know much about Mike Breeden. He's a little tall. I don't know much about Chris Gutzmacher, 5'8". 5'8". That's short. That's a short guy there. What say you?
I'm holding on to the pick, Hernandez. He's going to be feasting, I'm telling you. The striking is going to be on point. Ball point pen.
All right, fair enough. Next up, we have Drew Dober versus Ricky Glenn, a guy I always seem to think is Australian. Ricky Glenn. He looks Australian. He has a name of a guy who's Australian or from across the pond. He's got the same body type. He looks like a overflowed can of milk. Dan, what do you think about this one?
Oh, easy play here. Drew Dober is going to absolutely demolish Rick Glenn. Rick Glenn is taking some beatings in his career. This is, I don't know what this is, the matchup process for this fight is. I mean, Drew Dober, is he coming off of the win against
No, he just got knocked out to Matt Frivola.
Oh, okay. So it's a get right fight. Now I see the angle. It's a get right fight. And it's I think it's as simple as that. You got to read between the lines, read those tea leaves, and then eat them, just like Drew Dober is going to eat up Ricky Glenn.
I don't know.
Come on, it's not a trap fight. Don't overthink this one.
I just see a big commonality with guys that Drew beats and a big commonality with guys that Drew loses to. Not going to say what. You can look at Instagram Reels for that. They make a ton of them about it. Yeah, I'm going to ride with Drew Dober, but Ricky Glenn is the prototypical guy who puts Drew Dober away.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not going to say what I mean.
Okay.
It's more of a Patreon offline thing to say, not necessarily a YouTube thing to say. But Drew Dober wins against certain guys and loses against certain guys.
The perfect tease as the guy who runs the money. I love that we're teasing the Patreon. Guys, get into the Patreon to hear Alex's true take on whatever he's talking about. But listen, it's like Dan said, it's not a trap. It's Drew Dober. He should be headlining this card. He's not, but he should be. Drew Dober's just too nice of a guy. That's his biggest problem, right? That's why he's got 12 losses. All 12 of those losses are situations where he was like, this guy deserves to win too, and he allowed it to happen. The Matt Frevola knockout, oh, man.
I sent you a text of what I was going to say there.
The Matt Frevola knockout is as annoying as the Bobby Green knockout, right? Because I bet on Bobby Green, and I'm pretty sure I bet on Drew Dober, right? So it's like I wanted Bobby Green to do what he was doing the whole fight to Drew Dober and just not get knocked out. I wanted Drew Dober to do exactly what he did to Bobby Green to fucking Matt Frevola. That fight was kind of stopped a little prematurely in Drew's mind. Ricky Glenn, he's a beast. I love this fucking guy, but sadly he's gonna lose to Drew Dober here probably.
Doesn't he have an Australian or like England?
No, he's from the UK. Wait a minute.
No.
Oh my God.
You're thinking of somebody
Davey
else.
Grant.
Yes. He looks like Davey
Grant. I literally, until just now, I was like, I love Davey Grant. In my head, I'm like, I love Davey Grant. I hate it. I thought Davey Grant would lose to Ricky Glenn, but I thought that there would be a case to like talk about Dangerous Davey.
2 weight classes off.
Yeah, he looks like Davey Grant. He has like a English Australian type face, an English criminal type face.
I think Drew Dober is going to be a little bit more
hearty, thicker neck, shorter, stockier.
Yeah, swinging. Ricky Glenn's going to be there to be hit. Drew Dober is going to be happy to oblige. Joe Pfeiffer. So we'll triple certify Drew Dober. And Dan, you went with Hernandez, obviously. Not obviously.
Of course.
I heard you say it, so that's why I said obviously. Next, we got our boy Joe Pfeiffer. Well, he was going to come on the podcast. It's been really hard to nail down. Busy guy. But
he's a bit of a traveler. Yeah.
Best word we could use to describe him. I think he beats Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. I think he does it in the way he's been doing it. I think he goes in there, piss vinegar and smash ability, smashes him, gets the win, moves on. Obviously, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, much more credentialed striker, but there's just a certain level of competence when you have the takedown threat, when you have the jiu-jitsu, when you have the tenacity, the chimpanzee-like muscles that Joe Pfeiffer has. I mean, the guy is built like he's built like if you shaved a chimp. I mean, if you shaved a chimp, that's Joe Pfeiffer's muscle composition. And I just think that he's going to have way too much. It's going to be like 2 different weight classes in there. And I think he just eats up Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. So Pfeiffer all day for me.
Much bigger, much taller. He might not be as strong as Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. But like I said, I don't understand why he got this spot and a guy like Joaquin Buckley wasn't slotted into here.
Especially the same. If you're the fighter, who cares?
No, but I'm saying why does Al-Hassan get this chance, who lost to Joaquin Buckley against Joe Pfeiffer, Well, I'm saying Joe Pyfer's the A side regardless between the two.
Yeah, I would swap out Morono and Buckley for the co-main, and I would swap out Dober with if Dober didn't just get knocked out, you could put him against Dawson, right? But
Well, I'm saying Al Hassan should be fighting Morono, and Buckley should be fighting Joe Pyfer. That's what I'm more so saying. I don't know why Al Hassan is in this position. His last win is against Claudio Ribeiro, who has left a lot to be desired in his.
Well,
fights.
Buckley's a welterweight.
Oh, interesting. No, he fought Abdul Razak Al Hassan at middleweight. Is he a welterweight?
Now, well, yeah, I mean, now it's pandemic stuff. It's not. I'm not trying to call you out.
I mean, that was in February.
That's why he's at welterweight now. So.
Okay, interesting. Okay, that makes more sense then. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm going with body bags.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that Abdul Razak Al Hassan is getting any favors. He's being put in a position to lose, and he probably is going to lose. So ultimately, it's not very beneficial for him. Piper's the A side, as you said. He's got the Dana White privilege going on. He's only had like 2 UFC fights, a couple of very nice knockouts, but he's getting catapulted to the top. Easily a setup fight. Joe Pyfer will be a parlay pillar.
Sweet. I'm going. All right, next up, we're going to show certified Joe Pyfer body bags for the win. Next, we got the main event, Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. I'm going with Grant Dawson. I'm going with him emphatically. I think if you can't get past Drew Dober, Grant Dawson poses a whole host of other problems. He's going to get Bobby Green on the ground. He's probably going to submit him on the ground or ground and pound him on the ground. It's going to look a lot like the Makhachev fight. I love Bobby Green. I think he was getting some good momentum there, but ultimately, you got to get the momentum in a way that leads you to favorable matchups. If you get the momentum in a way that leads you down the rankings, it's an endless death spiral. Some guys can go down the rankings, find themselves in a nice meaty middle where they can get some wins like Anthony Smith back and get back into where they want to be. Bobby Green sadly fought the best guys for no pay-per-view points or money and is now going down to fight the up-and-comers who are hungry as shit. And Grant Dawson's very hungry. He is a guy who does everything right. He checks all his boxes. He got out of James Krause way before the fucking feds got in. So he's a smart guy. He's competent. And I think he beats Bobby Green handedly. Covers the spread. Don't know what the odds are going to be, but I think Grant Dawson gets a finish in a 5-round affair.
Grant Dawson should destroy Bobby Green over the course of 5 rounds. I mean, the bigger question is how he gets it done, how long it's going to last. But, man, I see a whole lot of ground and pound coming Bobby Green's way. His JUCO background in wrestling will not be able to save him here. Grant Dawson for the win. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's a fool's errand.
I've gone against Bobby Green quite a bit. I think he does a little bit too much hot dogging in there. He he does his little dances in there. He moves around a lot. He loses fights on optics quite a bit. But in that same vein, Grant Dawson is going to have nothing for him on the feet. Nothing at all. And, I think a JUCO college wrestler did fairly well. He has good wrestling, especially good wrestling defense. I think he's going to be able to keep Grant Dawson off him, keep him at bay, keep him at distance, and end up winning this fight. Bobby Green has an impeccable gas tank. Grant Dawson has never fought 5 rounds. Bobby Green forgets more about MMA than Grant Dawson remembers. And I just think Bobby Green ends up winning this fight, and it's not going to be the most appealing fight to watch, but I think he keeps Grant Dawson on the end of his jab quite a bit. Who did Grant Dawson lose to in the UFC? He drew Ricky Glenn.
The last second, or no. He I'm thinking of the fight he won, but he almost lost.
He drew Ricky Glenn, and
He knocked
Yeah.
out Leonardo Santos, but was about to lose that fight. It was like 5 seconds
Okay.
left in the fight.
Yes. I remember that one. And he drew Ricky Glenn. I know Luke thought Ricky Glenn was what's the guy?
He got knocked out in the first round by a guy named Hugh Pulley. He's 10-6. Hugh the Preacher Pulley, 34-year-old, currently 2-fight win streak. Currently fights in CFFC now, but he finished Grant Dawson early in the first round with elbows on the ground, way back in the day.
Yeah, and I think
that guy he lost to Jakar Close. He won against Jason Witt. He won against DeMarcus Jackson. He's.
You know who else beat Jakar Close?
It was 10 years ago almost. It was 8
Luke,
years
ago. Do you know who else beat Jakar Close almost 10 years ago? 5 years ago?
I'm just giving you the stats.
I'm just asking you a question. Do you know who else lost to Jakar Close 5 years ago?
No.
One, Bobby King Green.
Very interesting.
Bobby King Green wins this fight. I'm so confident in this. I just think Grant Dawson gets picked apart on the feet and that Bobby Green has good enough wrestling. Granted, I said this about the guy he last fought before I realized that guy said, I'm retiring regardless. I'm just fulfilled my contract. Damir Husmagulov. I thought, if Damir Husmagulov didn't think, I got to finish out this contract, he probably ends up winning against Grant Dawson. But Bobby Green beats him definitively. It's not even going to be within question.
All right. Interesting. I mean, just when I think it's an open shut case, Alex comes in and changes the title of the book, replaces it with a whole new cover. I mean, I like what you said. What Bobby Green has forgot about MMA is more than Grant Dawson knows. It reminds me of that meme I sent you where that guy was telling the woman off at New York Fashion Week. He was like, honey, what you don't know about men could fill a book. All right, cool. So let's take everybody through the full picks, top to bottom. I'm going to go through mine first. I got Grant Dawson at the top, Joe Pyfer, Drew Dober, Bill Algeo. Check with me in the Patreon about that one, though. Ian Cutelaba, Joaquin Buckley, Kanato Murata, Johnny Munoz Jr., Montel Jackson, Mateus Mendonca, Montana De La Rosa, and Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Dan, Alex, take it away.
Starting the card off with an oldie but goodie, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Then we're going Mountain De La Rosa. Then we're going Mateus Mendoza. Then Montel Jackson. Following it up with Arichi Lang. Kanako Murata is the next pick. Then Joaquin Buckley into Felipe Lins, one of my least favorites. Then Bill Algeo. The dog will be too strong for the lion. Drew Dober, Joe Pyfer, and then finishing off with a old dog with not many new tricks, Bobby Green.
Starting at the top, we got Grant Dawson, Joe Pyfer, Drew Dober, Alexander the Great Hernandez, Ion Not So Great Cutelaba, Joaquin Buckley, Vanessa Demopoulos, Arichi Lang, Montel Jackson, Mateus Mendonca, Montana De La Rosa, and Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
And our children.
Doesn't Montel sing the song, This Is How We Know?
That's Montel Jordan.
That's why I always, when I see Montel Jackson, I always think about that Kanye West lyric. He was, I'm talking Montel Jordan. This is how we do. The Trilby certified picks, if you ignore the first two, it's folks that if we told you they were Trilby certified, you wouldn't really even need to ask who they were fighting. You'd be like, okay, like I'll go with that because they're good. They're good guys. Like they're guys you want in your Grand Theft Auto heist. They're guys you'd want defending you at a bar. There's guys you'd want in your foxhole. And I'll tell you who they are first. Let me go with the two lady Trilby certified picks, Karolina Kowalkiewicz and Montana De La Rosa, KK and MDLR. Those are the first two fights.
Luke, I wouldn't want a lady in my foxhole.
Put them away, tuck them aside. The next four Trilby certified picks are outstanding. I mean, Montel Jackson, Joaquin Buckley, Drew Dober, Joe Pyfer. Me and those four guys, we can take over the fucking world. All right. So I love it. Should have been Grant Dawson at the top, but I like what Alex said about Green. He actually got me you got some hairs on the back of my neck perked up. I'm going to take a look at this as it gets
Great
closer.
takedown defense, guys. Great takedown
Yeah, great
defense.
takedown defense. Got better striking. I mean, at the end of the day, what do you want me to say? I just think Grant Dawson, I've never seen his takedown offense. And I just think of Bobby Green. He's, I don't know. I don't know. You got me thinking. All right, everybody, tune in next week to the Patreon. We'll go through it again in the Comb Club. Take a look through it with a fine-tooth comb. That's where you can get it. We'll break down the recap, the TMZ drama, everything that goes into it. Tune in the Patreon, and thank you so much for running the show, everybody.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.